Wow, it has been such a whirlwind, and I am so happy to be back here on this podcast to give you a little sweet update on, what has happened this past weekend, what I've just learned in the past few months, and how it all pertains to life and business. And there are many immutable laws and universal life truths, but I want to go over 3 of them because they came up a lot this weekend at this particular convention I just had gone to, and I'd love to relate this back to your business, to your tattoo business. And it's really funny because I feel like this is, I don't know if you've ever been in any of my spaces, but if you're in the ARC, which is my membership, if you're looking for that yummy, juicy confidence to start showing up in the online space and start creating that incredible, iconic, standout brand, or if you're in BTS, which is really getting into understanding social media, how to really expand your business and grow your business, your tattoo business, and then, or if you're in scale and you're just like, I have grown my tattoo business, I want to scale that business by creating multiple income streams. Whichever one, if you've ever been in it, you will know by listening to this that how much I love immutable laws. And what does immutable mean? Immutable means tried and true, essentially. It means that no matter what happens in the world, it will always be a universal truth. It's not an opinion. It's not even like a choice thing. You don't have a choice in it. It's not a tactic. It's not something that just goes away. What I'm looking at is like immutable laws, meaning like if it pertains to your business, like marketing, for instance, immutable would be what are the most present laws you need to continuously get skilled at and master in order to be an incredible marketer, not what tactics do I need to take for a reel, like getting a great hook in order for a thing to go viral. Because you know how like virality can change at any drop of the hat, like the algorithm can change at the drop of a hat. But if you have the immutable laws to marketing, to social media branding, to running a business, to just life in general, then you will always you'll always come out on top because the immutable laws never change. It doesn't matter what the platform changes. This worked, when I'm talking about like it works in like especially for marketing, it works in radio, it worked in music videos, it worked on television commercials, it works on social media, it worked on billboards, when we were still doing that. It's like we can go through every style of advertising during every era, and these particular laws will continue to be true. And so this is the same thing with life and with business. And so I'm going to go over some of those today. And the reason why is because I felt like it came up a lot in the last few weeks, but especially in this last convention that I had just gone to. So let me just give you a little bit story time. I just went to a convention in San Bernardino, California, just up the street from me, literally like an hour and a half from me, called InkCon. Definitely has that. It reminded me of like when I first started tattooing, when I was definitely in that like more cholo vibe, where you're just like that like hood rat, West Coast Chicano style, black and gray realism. And honestly, it was funny because not only did I feel more like at the beginning of my career where I first started, because that's how I started. I started off in a Chicano like cholo style shop. And I loved it. I fucking loved it. It just brought me back home to like my homies. And funny enough is that I actually got to see a guy that I apprenticed with. And he's doing incredible work, like, very much so in the industry. And I'm just so happy for him. And he was definitely so excited to show me like all of that he's done and all he's accomplished in the last like 13 years. We both started at the same time. So yeah, it'd be like 13 years. And so, I'm super stoked for him and all that kind of stuff. So it kind of did definitely bring me back to just to your roots, just where you came from. And I love that shit. And it's like, you always want to remember that. You always want to, it's like this humbling aspect where you're just like, damn, like humble beginnings always. People are always going to see from the outside looking in, and they're always going to have an opinion about you. And this was funny because this actually happened at the convention where I have people, and this happens so often. And when you live in polarity, which is an immutable law, polarity is king. When you have a polarizing brand, number one, immutable law, polarizing brand will always be iconic and stand out the most. But to be polarizing means to be attracting and repelling all at the same time. So what I mean by this in context to what had happened during this weekend was that I had a few people come up to me and being like, I fucking love you. You are incredible. I love everything that you do. You're so positive. I love the business. And even some people that have even taken my courses, or are in my spaces like the ARC, or they've taken Booked Out or something like that. They're like, I love being in that space. It just makes me feel at home. I love your spiritual take on conscious content and things like this. And I'm just like, yes. And then they go on to say, it's like, yeah, a lot of people think you're a joke or you're fake or you're a clown or, some of these things. And they're like, but you know what? But they don't fucking know you. And I don't know what compels people to say those things to others, where it's like, but I don't think that. And I find that hilarious. I find it hilarious when people feel the need to voice that, like, oh, there's people that hate on you that I'm around, but I don't hate you. You know what I mean? And it's almost like, I wonder what compels people to say something like that. Like, I definitely wouldn't say that to anybody, but I really, honestly, like, I love it. I just love it. I think what it is that sometimes I think the reason why people do say this is because there's a part of them that didn't believe it themselves. And that they also maybe at one point or another thought I was fake, thought I was cringy, thought I was gross. They were like, oh, this girl's so fucking fake. Like, she's so cringy in the online space. I can't stand her. And I just get it. Like, and that's called polarity, And so, but then there are some people that have the willingness to look within themselves and brave within themselves and really see like, oh, that's me thing. That's not a her thing. She's just doing her regardless of what others think. And I'm the one being activated by what she's saying. And so I have to look within. So there's those brave people. There's the one side where there's the brave people that are willing to look within themselves, take responsibility for their own emotional reactions to the things that are outside of them and either heal them or they just leave it on top of me to hate on me for whatever reasons and belief systems that are going on within their body, which is none of my motherfucking business, and which, frankly, I don't really fucking care. And so it's so funny when people say this because I'm just like, oh, honey, I'm so fucking, number one, not only am I proud of you for just like seeking outside the box, because not only am I unconventional, not only am I in an industry where it doesn't really like coaches or mentors like we do, but at the same time there's like this, we hold it close to the heart. We think people are fake. We don't want to give away too much because we're afraid that people will take from us and take advantage of us. And these are all the belief systems that happen in this tattoo industry. I feel like we're a little bit behind in times when it comes to an industry, but I think that with that being said, I understand why this industry wants to connect back and always be in the roots of it all. Like, and I understand that. And I think that there is like goodness to everything. So yes, goodness to that, but gatekeeping is not my vibe. And also, I'm not only unconventional in the fact that I teach tattoo business in the tattoo industry, which there's not many of us, but I also teach spiritual tattoo business. So I'm also like really, really different in the way that I speak about, because of the fact that I believe that it's not about the strategy, the structure, what you're doing first, what actions you're taking first. I believe that, and this is, I could say that this is an immutable law, because at the end of the day, when I'm in rooms with 6, 7, 8, 9-figure earners, people that are making hundreds of millions of dollars, and I'm in rooms with these people, the first thing they always talk about is that change doesn't happen from a physical standpoint. Change doesn't start from a physical point. It starts from an internal point first, because we have to change the way that we're thinking in order to do something different out in the world. So I'm going to say number 2 immutable law would be change doesn't happen from a physical point. It happens from an internal point. And so these people that decide that they're like, I'm like fucking proud of people that are like, oh, I'm going to decide to look within so that I can create a change outside of me. And so when these types of people come up to me and they're like, oh my gosh, I love you, and other people call you a clown, but I don't think so. And it's like maybe at one point or another they did think that, and then they looked within themselves, right? They took an unconventional way of doing things. They literally adhered to an immutable law of like, I'm going to change the way that I see things first, the way that I believe things, my thought process, and then it's going to change everything outside of me, And so that being said, it's like I love conventions because they always bring me closer to what it is people are really desiring. And it always tells me a lot about, my client, my archetype, especially when it comes to the coaching side of my business. Like people really, especially tattooers, I notice everything that's really like, I get to know you guys to such a intricate level. Like I am obsessed with everything that you love, everything that you want, everything that you're afraid of, whether that be real or imagined. I know all of those things. I get really good at understanding them because of the fact that like I really do care about what kind of products I put out there, what kind of content or education that I put out there in order for it to really land with you in a way that's going to shift the way that you think in order for you to do something different out in the world. And so when I look at this, I'm just like, wow, thank you so much. So this is why I love conventions, is because when you guys come up to me and you tell me your opinions, or you tell me like what you love, or you tell me what you don't like, which is super duper rare, because to be honest, anybody that calls me a clown would never tell me to my face. They would never say it to my face. That's why I find this so interesting, because it's like they'll call me a clown behind the scenes, but it's probably because and what I would say to that too is that they've watched enough to even have an opinion. So they probably had to like cringeworthy watch more than they wanted to in order to, voice that opinion. Or they haven't watched enough and they saw one thing and then they wanted to call me a clown because I triggered a belief within them that basically wanted to keep them small. So there's the third immutable law, is that we're not actually afraid of the unknown. We are afraid of leaving the known. So we are not afraid of the unknown. We are afraid of leaving the known. And so when I trigger people by being in the first immutable law and being polarizing, because I'm really out there with what I believe, like I'm really out there. And that takes practice. That's a skill. It's not something that just happened and I all of a sudden I was brave, all of a sudden I had confidence in it. Bravery compounded equals confidence. There's your fourth immutable law. Like bravery compounded equals confidence. It's like I took brave steps every single day, got really good at being brave. Like I practice bravery every single day. I do something that scares me, that pushes me to my boundaries, to my edges every single day. And putting myself out there in a really authentic way is one of them. And so, of course, I'm being polarizing. I'm bravery compounded. So I took a lot of brave steps in order for me to be polarizing in my brand, in my message, in my movement, understanding that, right? Which is the first immutable law. I'm going from that polarization aspect. And so bravery compounded, yes, I had to do the brave thing. But when people are brave enough to actually look within themselves, and they're going to understand. So it's like this polarizing aspect of my brand allows me to really be out there and attract the people that are meant to be in my spaces and repel the people that are not meant to be in my spaces. Like attract the people that are a fuck yes and repel the people that are a fuck no. At the end of the day, that's all I care about. Like I'd rather have a tiny, tiny community, a very tight-knit community of 100 people that are diehard than 100,000 people that are not. And yeah, I have a big following, but that following has shifted and changed over time, and not all of them still agree with me, and some of them still do, and they're continuing to follow and continuing to be diehards, but not everybody does. And so it's like I've changed and shifted and evolved in my career so much, and so of course like my community begins to change, my engagement starts to drop, and all of these things. And this is just what happens when you start to shift your brand. And so everybody's so afraid to shift their brand because of the fact that it's like, oh, well, if I'm not doing the same thing, I used to do this and I get this much engagement, but now I'm doing this and I'm not getting this much engagement. And then they revert back, right? So they're not afraid of the unknown, they're fear of leaving the known. And that's something that's like literally robs you. It robs you because of the fact that you're like, let me stay just the way I am because people are afraid of me growing without them. And so it's like, instead, like that sounds so backwards, because number one, which would be number 5 in Immutable Laws, is life is unbelievably short and it's fucking precious. So why the fuck are you gonna stay the same for an algorithm? For a fucking like or an engagement situation or for a view? Like, no, thank you. I've had the worst engagement of my entire career in the last 2 years and have had the best clients I have ever had, been booked out more than I've ever been booked out. I'm booked out for an entire year. I don't even post that many tattoos and I'm still booked out an entire year. And that's a whole other podcast episode that I will talk about another time. And and I've made more money in my coaching business because of that evolution and shift. And so, when we're talking about really having a micro movement of people that are meant for you and being polarizing and really being brave and understanding, again, that life is unbelievably precious and it's fucking short, I'd rather move toward the unknown and evolve and follow what's in alignment to my motherfucking soul than stay the same. Because the thing is that 99% of people out on this planet are fucking so afraid of change. They're so afraid of leaving the known. They have so much fear of leaving the known that they are unwilling to go to the unknown, where it could be so much dreamier. Everybody looks at it like the grass is greener, and then it's actually like the unknown. The grass is actually fucking greener. The grass is greener in the unknown, but people are like, well, I just want to stay over here. Like, I just want to stay right here because this is where everybody knows me. This is how it all works out. I don't want to rock the boat too much. I don't want to lose engagement. But I'm like, is that engagement making you money? Is that engagement, is that translating to sales and conversion? If it's not, then your engagement doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Your Instagram, your content is meant to funnel people in from discovery all the way down to booking with you. If that's not what it's doing at all times, fuck engagement. When I decided to say fuck engagement, when I decided to really I was like, you know what, I'm actually going to be stepping outside of me identifying as a tattoo artist. I'm like, I am a spiritual entrepreneur that does tattooing and has a tattoo business and also has a coaching business and also runs a shop. Like, I do all of these different things. I have my hands out in all these different pots, and I decided just to consider myself an entrepreneur was the day that I shifted everything. It shifted the way that I see things. It shifted the way that I went about being in the online space. I was like, I'm going to talk to one motherfucking person. I don't need to talk to everybody. I'm talking to one person. And that person desires to be a millionaire. That person has a millionaire's mindset. That person is ready to be brave and do bold things and live life on the wild side every once in a while, or even more than once in a while. It's like, it's a value to them. It's like, I value courage. I value generosity. I value this. And you know what's so funny about that is that even though I talk about this stuff, my tattoo clients are 6 to 7 figure earners who are very passionate about being in service to others. My clients are, moms who are bikini bodybuilder models and competitors, and they're also like homeschooling their kids, and they're they run CEO company babes. I have people that they just match me to a T because I'm so willing to be out there in the way that I am, even though I don't post a lot of tattoo photos because there's a whole behind the scenes that I handle with my tattoo business. And so it's like, number one, social media is a part of your business, but it's not the full scope of your business. And number two, it's like, why not just look outside that box, And so I fucking commend all the people that have come up to me and decided to do something a little bit different. Launching their books when, the concept of launching is still very new in the tattoo industry. And, looking at it from a perspective of spiritual and mental health and well-being will be the byproduct. That focus will be the byproduct of wealth and success in your business. And, like how we can get to that 10x perspective, that utilizing the universe as support to help you in the direction that you want to go. We're listening to our inner wisdom and really playing in quantum physics and energy, because that's actually going to define the strategy and what we do and how we walk in this world. And so, like that, I'm so proud of the people that come up to me at convention and they're just like, Reese, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm doing these things. Like, it's fucking amazing. And I'm just like, if you were there and you're listening to this, I'm fucking proud of you. Like, I just love you. You know who you are. That came up to me, and I'm just proud of you for just taking the time, having the guts to just say hello. I know that like some of you were like, I was really scared to just say hello. What do I say? And it's just like, all you have to do is just start a conversation. Like, you know what I mean? And so that's it. Okay. Another immutable law, I believe we're on 6, would be ready is not a feeling, it's a decision. So one thing I got a lot of at the convention, especially by female tattooers, and this is something that I find to be kind of an ongoing thing for most artists, but since I tend to attract female tattooers a lot, and I love working with female entrepreneurs, like I fucking love working with female entrepreneurs, it's because I don't know what it is about women, and, like, I don't know what it is about women, but we just fucking go. Like, we just have heart and soul, and we let our emotions be our superpower versus making them mean like they're negative or bad or wrong. And the fact that, yeah, they're just more willing to go in deep into the body. And I love my divine masculine men in my spaces. I love the divine masculine man. Like the man that's just willing to hold space for that feminine side. Like a lot of men are really good at this on the femme energy. However, it's like to consider it of that, or like they just I feel like a lot of men might need more of a masculine role to show them that feminine side in order for them to really like be like, let's fucking go in the world, right? Like I feel like to be led by a woman, because I think that that's the reason. And I feel like a lot of female tattooers resonate with me because they're like, I really would like a woman to show me how it's done, especially since I've seen you do it, and I feel like that's just kind of what happens. Like I have a lot of male teachers. I also have a lot of female teachers and mentors. Of course, I love the female side of things. I've really healed that sisterhood wound within me that makes me feel like so nourished in a female community. I had the other day at the convention tell me like, Reese, I didn't realize how cool it is to see you have like good girlfriends. Like it was almost like she's like, I wish I had more good girlfriends. And I was like, honestly, some of my closest friends, my closest girlfriends are queer, gay, non-binary, LGBTQ, and it's like, and I just like, I think I tend to attract that because it's just, there's this epidemic that's happening in the world of the feminine energy and the feminine energetics. And you don't have to be female to have feminine energetics, but just that wants to come out and be like, I'm out the motherfucking closet in whatever capacity that might mean. And since I'm all about unapologetic expression, I just tend to attract that a lot. Whereas, the traditional man in the tattoo industry is like, make it all about your art. It shouldn't be about you and all of this stuff, which I do agree with. But I also I do want you to make it about your art, but it is about you, because a personal brand, which is what you are, is what you're running. The business that you're running is you as the personal brand, and the tattooing is an extension of that brand. And so that right there is going to make you $1 million. You just saying it's only about the art is the kind of person that doesn't want to expand outside of the fact that like, hey, nobody knows you. Your art was great one year, but now someone else's art is like overtaking and overseeing you, and now your art is being overlooked. Now nobody bandwagoned on that brand because they were like, this art's cool, but so is 100 of these other artists here. We are interrupting this podcast episode so that I can invite you into the Align and Rise community. Have you ever wanted to be a part of a community that held you accountable, that supported you, and that also helped you increase that self-love and self-worth, release that overwhelm and overwork, really eliminate those blocks that hold you back so that you can start calling in those higher cash months and those soulmate clients and start building that $1 million movement? I mean, let's go. $88 a month. You have access, such close access to me with daily trainings. You have master classes, tattoo technique classes, content classes. You also have 2 live calls with me every single month, all for $88. Cancel anytime. We're going to give you 7 days for free. Sign up in the show notes, baby. Really, when you're building a brand, what you're doing is you're building a place for people to identify with. And they want to identify and they want to relate back to a human. That's why the biggest brands out there are always going to relate it back to a founder, a co-founder, a story, an identity, what they believe in, their values, their message, their movement, because of the fact that people will bandwagon off that based off an emotion and a feeling. Art, yes, it will give me a feeling, but if I have no human connection to that art, I just think it's cool art. That's it. And so, yes, it should be about the art. It should be about skillfully getting better at your creativity, for fuck sure. If you don't have that, you don't have a business. But at the end of the day, it is still a business, like I said. And so if you're building a personal brand, you need to be building it based on identifiers, based on your values. And those values are based on human values, your values, you as a as a person. Those are your values. So if my values are generosity, growth, courage, those 3 things are huge in my value list. Like, I'm always going to be doing something brave. I embody that. You see that on my content everywhere. I'm always going to be generous. Like, I love to spend money on my people. That's why I love to make money. It's because I love to spend money. Like, I love to spend it on my people. I love to give it away. Like, my family buying my mom first class tickets, my best friend showering her with like the best experiences ever, my assistant, giving her raises and bonuses where I can, it's like, these are the people I love to shower shit with. Like, I'm like, here, let me take first class for my assistant. She's never been out of the country. Let me take her with me. You know what I mean? It's like, these kinds of things, and like supporting my friends, like buying my friends art, paying, doubling in, tipping out my artist, which I did the same amount he asked me to pay him because I just felt like he deserved it. And he was giving me a print for free. And I was like, nope, I'm buying this print. So I basically gave him double of what he asked for. And just being able to do that kind of shit, like, that's my generous value. Like, that's how I embody that shit, because I could fucking love it. That's why I know I'm like, money in the hands of good people do good things. Like, I'm not over here trying to hoard this money and be like, oh, look at me. It's more just like, hey, fuck yeah, look at what I gotta do with this money. Like, let me give it out to you. Like, that makes me more happy. Experiences make me happy, not things. Maybe things in lifestyle. Like, I love living on the beach. I love having an ocean view. Like, this is my lifestyle, but I'm living that lifestyle. So it's like, what else can I do with my money? Like, really give back, do generous things. Like, basically my last retreat, I made out even because of the fact that, like, I was like, fuck it, let's go full ham. And I spent over 20 grand on that retreat just so that people, like, so I could give the best time to the artists and the women that were there. So it's like, I have no problem. I'm over here. Yeah, sure. Of course I want to make a profit, and I'm very good with money because I know how to circulate money, because I have a good relationship with money. Like, I have a great relationship. Like, I circulate it because it's just energy, and the energy I put out, I know I'm going to get back in whatever capacity. I believe in reciprocity. Like, that energy of giving, that generous energy is what I do. And that's why everybody's like, I love your positivity. I love your, like, you just give so much into this industry. Thank you so much. It's like, God, thank you for saying thank you, because you make me want to do it more. Like, thank you for coming up to me at the convention, because all I want to do is give back more, bud. Like, thank you. Like, that shit fuels me. Growth fuels me, learning more, like being if I'm not growing, I'm dying. Like, that's where I'm at. If I'm not growing, I'm dying. If you're not growing, you're dying. And so always making growth a value, and that value is in my brand. And you see that because I'm always growing. You see me running and being dedicated and all these things. Like, devotion is a value. I'm about to hit I'm training for a triathlon right now, and I'll post things like, hey, how do I bring that back to my brand without having to talk about tattoos? I went for a run today. I didn't feel like going for a run. I certainly did not fucking feel like going for a run today. But all I can see in my mind, right? And this goes back to like number two, the change doesn't happen from first at a physical point. It happens at a mental point, an internal standpoint first. And so it was me being like, I don't feel like going for my run. But in my mind, all I could do was imagine me crossing that finish line in October when I'm done with that triathlon and being like, nah, I'm getting up. So I put 4.5 more miles in the bank, baby. And I feel really good about that. That's my devotion to myself, and knowing that like I'm devoted to me. I believe, your next immutable law is the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So the way that I treat my body, the way that I take care of my body, the way that I take care of my mind is the way that I'm going to treat my motherfucking business. How devoted I am. My values of devotion, generosity, growth, like all of the values pertain to my entire life. That's why it's embodied. It's an embodied thing. That's why it's a holistic business, because I think of the whole human, not just of the business. When we're embodying our values and we're sharing them in the online space and relating them back in a way to our people, because our content is not meant for us, it's meant for them. But here I am relating it back to you as a human. Like, I didn't feel like going to the gym. That's relatable. I didn't feel like going for a run. That's fucking relatable. Most people would be like, Reese, you're fucking crazy. Yeah, I wish I had your motivation. La, 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 la. And it's like, I'm not always motivated. But I do have the mastery, the belief in mastering my own mind. That's, for me, growth and mastery. If you desire mastery in everything that you do, you will always win. Every time you will make millions of dollars if that is what you desire. You will see all the success that you desire, whatever that looks like, whatever. You will see it. If mastery is a value for you, you will always see success and wealth in your business and in your life. That is a fucking immutable law. Mastery is everything. And I'm not saying you're going to master it. I'm saying that that's the journey you are on. And so for me, my mastery, the thing that I'm really good at is moving through hard things with ease. And what I mean by that is like emotional hardness, the stories that my mind want to tell me, you can't, I don't want to, I have doubt, this imposter syndrome, I'm overwhelmed, I'm overworked, it's like all of these stories that want to stop me from doing the scary thing. I know how to walk with, because I understand how my mind works, because I'm mastering that. That's what I want to master, because I know if I master that, I can master every other skill that I want to master in my creativity, in my business, because I understand devotion, which is another value. So all of the stuff that I'm putting out there in the online space that has nothing to do with my business, but has everything to do with my business, because life is business and business is life. And so here I am showing this all off, and here you guys are coming up to me being like, fuck, this is what I want to do, and this is how you're going to do it. Okay? Ready is not a feeling, it's a decision. So yeah, you might not feel ready to show up in the online space. This is another thing that I got questions on. And man, I think I'm going to do at the next convention, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have like maybe like sessions of branding audit sessions, and having like little mentorship moments, because I had so many yesterday where people will come up with me with a decision, with an ask, and I just sat with them and like I coached and mentored them all day on Sunday, because I was like, I'm not working, I'm going to take my sweet BFF, my sexy Angel Rose's shadow work seminar, just to go support her, which was also really fucking good. And I was like, yeah, let me take this fucking amazing thing she's doing. And so I took the day off, and then all of a sudden I was just like in my booth, and people were coming up to me and asking me all these beautiful business questions. And I was like, fuck yeah, sit down, you have an hour, like let's like dissect this, let's get into it. And it felt so good to give back face to face in that way. And so one of the questions that I had gotten was that it was like, how much of myself should I show versus how much I shouldn't. And this I can go in depth within another podcast episode. But it was one of those things where I was like, well, she's like, how can I, I just feel like I'm afraid to show my authentic self. I was like, well, ready is a choice. Ready is a decision. So you just got to decide that you're ready to do it. And then you just got to take the messy action, because at the end of the day, the more you are, the more you understand who you are, right? Like if we make our relationship to ourselves a priority, we start to understand what it is that we actually want. And then we continue to move in the direction that we desire. And when we do that, we're like, oh, I want to start showing up in the online space more authentically. Then that means that I'm actually willing to be brave enough to do that. And then I'm actually brave enough not only to do it, but also to understand who I am and what my values are, to share that in the online space so that I can build an iconic brand that is around the fact that like I really do care about my craft and my art, but I'm also building something that's really, really like big and iconic and memorable. And this is my fucking legacy. Like, people are like, I want a tattoo for the rest of my life. And I'm like, I want you to tattoo for the rest of your life, honey. But at the end of the day, if you're not building a brand where people want to get tattooed from you for the rest of your life, then you're going to be doing things that you're not super stoked on. And then it further goes down the spiral of just like the chasing and the forcing and this kind of thing. And so it's like really like being authentic is definitely a choice. And where do you start? Start with the first thing. It's like why you're here. What made you decide to be a tattoo artist in the first place, right? So like these kinds of things, it's like that's a choice. And it's like all of this fear around, the doing. It's like all of this fear of just like taking the action. Or, oh, well, this came up and I fell back. It's like, just hop back on then. Hop back on. Living in fear does not protect you from death. It robs you of life. So every time you feel fear around taking that leap, taking that action, doing the brave thing, being authentic online, like just think about the fact how much you are being robbed of life. Like you're living a half life because you're not able to show up in the online space because of fear. And that is a really scary thing. I'm not negating the fact that it's really fucking scary. And there's, and that's a point of contention where we need to heal that part of us inside of us, because the thing that we fear, the judgments that we think others have are really the judgments we have of ourselves. So if I have fear that someone is going to judge me for putting my sexy body in the online space and tell me that the only reasons why I have clients is because I'm putting my body out there, then I actually believe that about myself, regardless of what actually happens. And you know what's going to happen? It's going to happen. People are going to actually say that to you. And then what's going to happen in your body is going to say, see, you shouldn't have done it. But that's actually the universe planting a little like, you got this, girl. Post that body pic, get hated on, and walk yourself through it. Walk yourself through it. That's what the universe is doing. It's not trying to be like, oh, well, you shouldn't have done. That's your ego. Your ego is like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. I told you that was going to happen. It's like, no, it wanted this to happen because you needed it to happen in order to heal this part of you. You healed the one part just by doing it. Now you got to heal the other part by taking it, by understanding, I got me. I find safety within myself. I find security within myself. I validate my motherfucking self. And then everybody else validating me is just fucking cherries. Because you know how much I love it when you guys come up to me and give me some lovin'. Like, it fuels me, baby. It fuels me. It literally excites me so much when you guys tell me that like you love the courses, or you love being my spaces, or what can we do next, or how can we work together, or I just want to hug. Like honestly, like it, of course it fuels me. I'm fucking human. I love to be validated. I love it, but I don't need it. And that's the difference. And that's how we heal. And that's how we get brave and do a brave thing and just decide that we're fucking ready and not get robbed of life because I'm not letting fear, I'm not letting fear be the illusion of protection, and knowing that life is fucking short, and I refuse not to evolve and shift and change and get better and grow and share myself in a way that fucking just like the way that fuels me, but not only fuels me like from a fulfillment perspective, but also fuels my motherfucking bank account so that I can be generous and so I can continue to master my shit. Because when I know what you guys like, I'm like, oh, and I know your guys' problems. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I could help with. This is what I can do. And it just continues to help me to be in service to my people. So the more that you're out there, you're actually going to get feedback for the fact that it's like, oh, that motherfucker made fun of you because you showed your body on the online space. Let me talk about it. Let me screenshot his motherfucking comment and post about that shit. You know what's going to happen? You're going to start attracting the right people to your space and be polarizing with your motherfucking brand. Because when you are polarizing, right, you are attracting as well as repelling. And when you attract, you are so magnetic. You are so magnetic that there's no way that you can't be booked out because you're a fucking boss. Okay? I love you. Never not say hi to me if I see you at a convention. So I love you so fucking much, you guys. This podcast episode should be coming out at a time when I'm about to head to Chattanooga, Tennessee for my next convention. I am holding a free seminar on how to build an iconic brand, how to build a micro movement with a small following and still really blow up getting clients through your brand. A free one on Sunday. This will be July 14th in the morning. So if you are there or if you are attending, you are more than welcome to come out and take this free seminar with me. I would love, love, love to meet you. Of course, give me all the hugs. Lots and lots of hugs. I like to film hugs because I'm a fucking creepo like that. So let's film a hug together. Love you guys. I'll see you in the next episode.